Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. Well, our first interview this morning will be with the man known as Mistah Shak. He had a stinging political commentary called Brew. Well, yesterday there was a front page article on the Guardian newspaper which kind of raised a number of questions to Tuku. But before we begin this interview, we have the very latest. And as you know, in CNC3, we always share with you what's happening in the world of news. Last night, All Stars created history again. And this is the second time that a Pan side has won the title or copped the title of Band of the Year. So we have some of the footage to share with you. I'm pretty sure Akash will have an... Now we're switching our focus. The Bacchanal of Carnival. Well, Calypso Monarch was crowned. Chucky, one of the youngest members to attain the title. But his reign has started with some questions. So we're going to share with you the story about the crowning of the king. And then we're going to begin our conversation. We will have that story a little later. But joining us on set this morning, the man known as Mistah Shak. And you know his, I guess his rendition, Bois, a stinging political commentary. How are you?
Quite fine, actually. I'm cool. Good morning to all the viewers. Thanks for having me here, because I think that it's important to clear up some things. It's interesting how things take root in this country and start to develop, and people, of course, make statements based on lack of information, misinformation, that kind of thing. First things first, I want to say very importantly that a lot of people have been making this about a few things that it's really not.
Okay.
And one of the things is that first, some people have been trying to make it like I have some kind of personal thing against Chucky.
Right.
Chucky is a castmate of mine at Calypso House, and Chucky didn't judge himself. Chucky didn't grant himself the crown, so I have absolutely nothing against Chucky. As a matter of fact, Chucky is to be congratulated for putting on a show and finding a way to attain the title. The other thing about it is that yesterday in that article, there was an attached article about Chucky's reaction, and there was something said, attributed to me, where I said, or they alleged that I said, that Chucky's song wasn't a real calypso. Well,
did you say that his song was not a real calypso?
Categorically say that I never said that, and that I would never say that. As a matter of fact, I contacted the writer of the article to clarify that, and she admitted that I never said that to her, and that she would print a correction. But you know how the media works. That correction may never come until the next 2-3 days. I don't think, I'm not sure what was the purpose for attributing that to me, but I never said that. And the other thing is that, on a lot of the social media, we've been hearing people saying things like, Mistah Shak is a sore loser, and these are obviously people who don't know much about me. A lot of people would have only sat up and taken notice of Mistah Shak this year because of the impact that I made. But one of the things I always tell people is that I take part in competition, but competition doesn't define me. So that even if I'm in a competition where, if I personally, or even the people feel that I have not been treated fairly or correctly by the judging, I never really make that an issue, because if that's people's view, that's people's view. My concern always was, when these allegations, and that's the next thing I want to say, because I also saw that the president of Tuco said that it's interesting to him, or it's concerning that a competitor would make such allegations. I never made any allegations, nor did anybody from my circle. These allegations were brought to us. We were made aware of these. We had no information about. What
are the allegations specifically? The article says that you claim that an NCC official said to you, you have it in the bag.
Well, first things first, the article, if the article said that, that was wrong. It wasn't said to me. It was said to a member of my team who has been working with me during the season. And I maintain from the beginning that I do not know if any of these allegations are true, because none of the information in the allegations, we were never privy to any of this before they were made known to us. So we never made any allegations. However, my concern always was, when we heard this information, my question was not about a personal thing with, okay, then if I was placed for, I wasn't concerned with that. My concern was, why is this system in such a state that allegations like these can be given room to be considered. That is my concern, you know.
So the story about the NCC official, no NCC official told you that you're in front. They told a member of your team.
They told a member of my team this.
Okay, and who is the NCC official?
Well, I'm not going to go into that because obviously this person is not going to know, if I say this person is not going to now come and present themselves and say, yes, I give this information. That wouldn't make any sense. I'm saying that I am not concerned about the allegations. That's not my concern. My concern is these allegations have brought squarely into focus that the judging system is not sufficiently transparent, that they allow allegations like these. Any right-thinking person looking at this, at how the system is set up, they give room for these things to be considered, and that is my concern. I am not, if my concern was about Mr. Shak being wronged or the possibility that the results may have been different, the first thing I would have done was go to Tuko on Wednesday morning and ask to see score sheets and results and things like that.
Have you done that?
No, I haven't. And that's the point I keep making. I haven't done that because my concern is not about trying to be placed in a better position. My concern is this judging system needs to be more transparent. It needs to move with the time that we are in, with the availability of all the technology, with the interest of the people, because I think this Dimash Gra was probably one of the most talked about, possibly one of the most viewed, one of the most interesting to the public at large. And I'm saying, based on the time and the technology that we have, we need to make this judging system more transparent. Because I want to say this, Hema, these rumors and allegations, they didn't start this year, you know. People in the industry and even members of the public, based on things that have happened in the Mashgra in the past, know for a fact that we have heard these rumors before, years before. Since I was a little fella, I have been hearing rumors and allegations of situations similar to these. So my concern, and I want to make this very clear to people, this is not about me being bitter. They have placed me in third position, and I am fine with that. Even if the public at large feels that I ought to have been higher up, then all they have done is made people more supportive of me, so I do not need to fight that personal battle.
Were you shocked with the results? I'm going to ask. Did you, because you performed on the Carnival Brew, and even the first time I heard the song, Sonny and I were completely blown away with the song. And not only was it a strong political commentary, but it was very witty, and it really got the crowd moving. So.
Well, in terms of shock with the results, and again, I want to come back to a statement I made earlier. Competition does not define me. So I understand that the judges have a job to do, and it can go anyway, especially with the way that the judging system is set up, where, as I said, there's much room for improvement where transparency is concerned. So as far as shocked, I am not shocked by anything. I have seen many things happen in this especially in this Calypso competition. So I'm not shocked. I go out on stage, competition or not, I go out to give 150%.
Let me ask you something, Shak. I heard, because obviously social media was alight with your supporters and those that were really shocked. Do you think that all of those who sang stinging commentary or stinging political commentary, that they were all victimized?
I'm not in a position to say that. What I do know...
But don't you think it's strange that all those who decided to go after a certain...
I've seen stranger things. I've seen stranger things. I'm saying to you that my concern is not who was placed, who may have been victimized. That is for the individuals to deal with how they choose to. My concern is beyond Mr. Shak. It's beyond the competition. It is. I think I have made two very simple suggestions, and I am sure they are not new. And that is one, if a singer is being judged from the time he or she starts delivering to the time they end, then at the end of their performance, I think we have sufficient technology and resources to have the scores shown on some sort of electronic screen where everybody can visibly see all the scores. Even if they want to use the Olympic model or the Miss Universe model and throw the high, throw the low, and give us an aggregate. That way, what you do is you inspire confidence in the judging, you inspire confidence of the viewers, both the people who are in the audience and looking on via TV and the web, that the results are legitimate and they can't be tampered with in any way.
The other finalists, do they support you? Has anyone else?
I haven't, listen. My experience in Calypso has taught me. You see, people don't understand, Mr. Shak. Whenever I see something worthy of speaking out about, I take that upon myself. I stand behind what I say. Now, if other people decide to support me, fine. But my experience in Calypso, and I'm going to be bluntly honest here, my experience in Calypso is that it is difficult to get Calypsonians to come together, except when it has to do with the possibility of more money. Anytime, now I'm not saying that it's never happened.
Right.
I want that to be clear. I'm not saying it's never happened or it's impossible, but it's difficult to get Calypsonians together, except when it has to do with the possibility of more money. So when you have issues that not really connected directly to money, you will hear people speaking in closed circuits, behind closed doors. Very few of them have the fortitude that I or few others may have to come out publicly and say, listen, this situation needs to be fixed.
The situation needs to be fixed, according to Mr. Shak. We take a very short break. When we come back, we will have more for you. Stay with us. This is The Morning Brew. Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. Well, we are continuing our conversation with Mr. Shak. He sang a stinging political commentary, Bois, and I remember the first time I heard it, I was completely blown away, not only with the statements made, but the ability to really make light of some serious situations and raise some serious questions about the way things are happening in our country. Do you think that you were victimized?
No. I don't use the word victimize because, as I said before, if I am in a position where people feel I have not been given the benefit of fair judging, then people see that. I don't need to fight that battle. You understand what I'm saying?
Will you compete again in this competition?
Once I have the material, I mean, I don't intend to compete for the duration of however long my career goes. I think competition is good for you to a point. So I am, you know, extremely, you know, I make note and I admire a lot people like Stalin and Rudder who have made their statements and they feel they need to move on and leave this space for people who are coming. So my intention is not to stay in competition, which is why people need to understand that this stance is not even about me, because I don't intend to be competing for the rest of my career, however long it lasts. But at the same time, I would like to know that even if when I stop competing, that there's a system in place that is transparent enough. Because one of the other things I have also suggested is that hand in hand with the other people who they use judging, they could use a mixture of people who aren't Calypsonians and people who are Calypsonians who no longer compete.
Who are the judges? And I know that we were trying to get on to Chucky because he has been competing for quite a while now, and, you know, hoping to just get an idea of how the judging takes place. So hopefully, Chucky, we can get you to give that quick comment. But who are the judges, and do you think it just comes down to human error?
Well, first things first, that is a very interesting question you ask. Who are the judges? A lot of times, us as competitors are in the dark as to who may be judging us from time to time in specific competitions. We may be aware of some of the people in the pool of judges that they usually use, but from time to time we aren't always aware of who is judging us in any specific competition. But as I say, that is not of a concern to me who it specifically is, except if there happens to be any perceived or actual conflict of interest.
So you don't know who the judges are? I'm a little confused.
I was not aware who the judges were on Sunday night. I wasn't aware.
So you don't...
Hold
on. You don't know, and the criteria you don't know?
No, I know what the criteria is. I'm quite aware of the criteria. The criteria and who the judges are two totally separate things. I was not aware who the judges were on Sunday, but I'm saying to you, whether that is a shortcoming on the part of the organizers, is that may be so. I am saying, however, that as far as Mr. Shak is concerned, it does not matter to me necessarily who is sitting on that panel of judges if the organizers have deemed them competent. And if the organizers have deemed there is no conflict of interest with the people on the panel and whoever is competing, if these things these criteria are fulfilled, then it really doesn't matter to me, because, as I say, from my personal perspective, I go on the stage to put on my best show.
You think Tuco is capable or competent of really taking the Calypso art form forward?
I think Tuco is capable. Whether they are willing is another question. I am of the view that I am not going to question the capability. I think Tuco possesses the skills and the resources, both human and otherwise, to be able to take the thing forward. But having the tools and utilizing them in the correct way are two different things. And my concern is, I don't think that they are doing everything within their power to bring confidence in this judging system. And as I said, there are simple things that I think can be done to bring the confidence, so that people, when you hear allegations like these, they don't necessarily have to take root. I think they could do simple things to eliminate the possibility of people coming with allegations that you may have to sit, any right-thinking person will have to sit and wonder, I wonder if there's any truth to this. You know what I mean? I don't think they're doing everything in their power to eliminate those things.
Doing everything in their power to eliminate all of the discrepancies. Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hema Ramkissoon, and this is the Morning Brew, and we are continuing our discussion on Calypso and Mistah Shak stinging political commentary. I want to ask about your motivation for this, and we will be having a veteran Calypsonian, Chucky, joining us on the telephone in a couple minutes just to share his insight on what is taking place. But let's talk about the motivation. So you went after everybody in this Calypso.
Well, no, I didn't go after people, you know. I went after situations and things that were happening, and there were people attached to those situations.
So, well, at what point did you say, all right, reading the newspaper, and I was like, this is what I'm going to deal with? This, well, everybody was on, and no one was off limits.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that, insofar as the concept for the song, the concept was present for about a year, probably a year and a half now. I didn't have any lyrics or any structure, but I knew two things. Based on what was happening, I knew that Calypso, I was looking at the Calypsos and listening to the Calypsonians, and I thought, just to me, I thought that something was missing in terms of what I understand Calypso to be. I thought that, you know, certain things weren't being dealt with in terms of getting into the meat of matters.
You think Calypsonians are now afraid to battle with the politicians?
I can't say that definitively. It appears so in some circles. However, insofar as the root of Calypso is concerned, and the root of our culture, stick fight and calendar stick fighting is one of our ancient cultural traditions. It's an ancient African art form, a very spiritual one at that, and it's very closely related to the journey of Calypso. So I understood that Calypso being that thing where we get to express our views, and it's almost like a Gael where Calypso is concerned. So the relation was really clear to me. And of course, things that were happening in the society, socially, politically, economically, just made me realize that it was time.
It was time to enter the Gael and give them some licks. Now, speaking about licks, we have joining us on the line Dr. Hollis Liverpool, Chucky, known as Chucky, veteran Calypso, an icon in Trinidad and Tobago. And he has competed, I think, in probably more Calypso Monarch finals than almost anybody else who's still competing. He also was present in the finals, this last Calypso Monarch finals. Dr. Liverpool, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
How are you? And I understand yesterday was your birthday, so happy belated birthday.
Thanks a lot.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the controversy and the bacchanal surrounding Calypso Monarch. Why are there always questions about the results? Why do people not accept these results all the time? Why do you think this is happening?
Well, as long as, they're supposed to have a system of judging. And as long as the system of judging is supposed to be known to all, and if the system is not known to all, then there'll be controversy. But I think Tuco judges on a system of the best of 5 judges, and the 5 judges are supposed to give their points They're supposed to give their points. They're supposed to give their points right away. If they don't give their points right away, then there'll always be controversies. They're supposed to have the points right away, and the points are supposed to probably put up on a board or something like that, But as long as they don't give their points right away, there'll always be controversies.
Do you think that the judging was were you shocked at all at the results? And I'm asking you this in the context, Dr. Liverpool, that you have competed in probably the most amount of Monarch finals. You are still competing to this day. As you look at the judging and the quality of judging today versus that of yesterday, were you satisfied with what you saw on Sunday night?
Well, I don't usually quarrel with the judges because I know that the calypsos are very difficult to judge. So I don't really quarrel with judges because I know it's very difficult to judge. And as long as you don't give your points right away, you'll always be controversies. The matter is a matter of criteria. Once you don't give that you'll always be controversies. So I don't really quarrel with the judges, because I know it's a difficult thing to judge,
You trust the judges?
I don't talk to judges. I don't talk to judges at all.
Now, looking at the Tuco and the questions about Tuco, do you think that Tuco can really transform this art form? Do you think the board of Tuco is competent and capable of not only making Calypso mainstream again, but really and truly kind of answering all of the questions that remain in the public domain?
Well, they're supposed to say what? They're supposed to say, give your points, and they're supposed to say why you give your points, and supposed to say why you judge, what are your criteria, and you're supposed to submit your points. If they do that, then there'll be no controversy. But I think what's happening is that some of the judges probably don't understand the criteria. I think that's what causes them to be controversy.
If you had to advise Tuco this morning, and you had the ear of those executives, as one of the icons in Trinidad and Tobago, what would you say to the management of Tuco?
Well, I would simply say that judge, give a reason for it. If you give 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, you should say why you give that. But I think what is happening in the judges, what I'm seeing is that they say one thing and they give a next. They say very good and they give 5 points. They say very, 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 very good and they give 4 points. You're supposed to say 7 is supposed to be satisfactory, 8 is supposed to be good, 9 is supposed to be very good, 10 is supposed to be excellent. What I'm seeing is that most judges say excellent and they give 5 points. Very, 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 very good and they give 6 points. In other words, they just submit a number, and the number what they submit don't correspond to what they are saying, and I think that causes the problem. For example,
Go ahead, sir.
I am seeing on my score sheet, skillful, very, very good, and 5 points. Very, very, very good, and 6 points. In other words, some of them just submit a number, and the number they submit don't correspond to the corresponding critiques. In other words, they're saying very, very good, and they give 6 points. So I think judges are supposed to sit down and understand what they mean by 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. And that's the problem.
Now, I want to ask you, do you think that this situation is actually can be a deterrent to younger members entering the Calypso arena?
Of course. It can deter because many of the judges don't understand how difficult it is to compose a Calypso, and some of them make fun of it. They don't understand how difficult it is to judge, and I think it's even more serious about judging the Calypso art form.
Your closing comments, Dr. Liverpool. Obviously, another year, another set of bacchanal for Tuco, but Calypso as an art form is obviously facing its own challenges. A lot of people saying that the political commentators or those that walked that path were victimized. Do you feel that? Do you get that sense at all?
I don't know. I don't know what was done to the judges before. I don't know what training they had. I know what they had before, so I can't comment. I don't know what they did before, or what kind of training they had before. So I don't know. It's very difficult to conduct. You see, all I'm saying is that to judge the Calypso is very, very difficult. One has to understand the history of the Calypso. One has to understand the tradition of the Calypso before you judge. And I don't think many of those judges understand the Calypso tradition. I don't think so. So it's very difficult to judge. I don't know what training they have had. I know what preparation they have had before. So it's very difficult to judge the Calypso. I don't know what they had.
Dr. Liverpool, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And again, happy belated birthday to Chucky, an icon in the Calypso industry. Now, Mr. Shak, we just spoke to one of the icons. I think that Chucky is probably, in terms of this year's final, he was probably one of those participants that competed in more finals than anyone else. And he also has some questions about the competency displayed on Sunday night.
Well, as I said, for me, and I want to get a little deeper into what Chuck just said. I remember in October last year, I was at a radio station. I went to release two of my songs. And I heard an ad on the radio announcing that they were inviting people to sign up for a 2-day seminar for Calypso judging. I was appalled, and I'll tell you why. Because, and this is why I made the suggestion of using civilians alongside some people who are veteran Calypsonians who no longer compete. Because there are some innate, intrinsic things about Calypso that you can never teach somebody who has not been involved in Calypso for a long time in 2 days. I heard the ad and I was wondering if this is a sewing class or some kind of thing, because I did not know what prerequisites do they have to vet the people who are coming. There are people who will come and sign up for something like that because they know judges get a little stipend. There would be other people who may come and sign up because they have nothing better to do. What kind of pre-qualification process do you have to make sure that you get people who understand the rudiments of Calypso beyond just the judging? And the fact that somebody like Chuck could say that he doesn't think the judges understand the criteria, that's a very, very indictable thing on the organizers of the competition.
As we wrap this interview, you know, in addition to receiving a lot of praise for your stance, you received a lot of criticism. People say that you have a problem with Chucky, that you didn't accept it. What are your closing comments before we check into
my closing comments are people who, again, there are people who obviously don't know the history of Mr. Shak. First things first, I am not afraid of negative comments. We live in a society where when you stand for certain things that are right, correct, and when you have a strong voice, there are people who will buck against that, and I understand that. I have no problem with that. I do not spend my time trying to refute comments that are baseless or senseless. The reality is, I have absolutely nothing against Roderick Chucky Gordon. As I said, he is a young performer like myself. He is also a castmate of mine at Kaiso House. He did not sit and judge himself or give himself the title. So I have no problem with him. I have no problem in terms of trying to fight for a personal cause. If I was, I would have been at Tuco asking for my score sheets the very next morning. And I didn't do that. I still haven't done it. So I want people to understand that my concern here is not even just about, you know, the fact that these allegations may have come to raise questions. My concern is there is room for these allegations to take root, and I'm saying, beside what Chogdas was saying in terms of the judges giving their scores immediately, and he alluded to it, they need to be more transparent, not just for the competitors, but for the people looking on, because these allegations, as I said before, we have no idea how many potentially good Calypsonians they have destroyed and deterred in the past. We have no idea how many more they may destroy and deter in the future. And I'm saying that Calypso being our root art form, and I still believe Calypso is very relevant in our society despite the prevalence of soca and all its other derivatives.
Do you believe that there was political interference in the judging?
I can't say. I can't say.
The article says that you were the favorite, that the NCC official confirmed that it was in the bag for you and your fan,
well,
and then all of a sudden something happened.
Well, whatever that something was, I am still maintaining that had the process been more transparent if we were seeing the scores as soon as the singer sings, if as soon as Mr. Shak sing, you see the scores of the how many ever judges, and you see an aggregate, and the entire audience in the savannah and the people viewing could have seen it, then there would have been no need to entertain such an allegation. So for me, I am not concerned about whether there was political interference or not. I understand that politicians will do what politicians will do, and which is to try to control as many things as possible.
And do you think they are controlling it now?
Well, I don't think politicians have the ability to really control. They could, if they wish to, they may be able to control certain aspects of Calypso. But Calypso is a ground art form, it's a root art form. And no matter how you try to control it, it is an ancient art form that is rooted in our belly and our DNA and our society way before any of these politicians who are present now. So I'm not concerned about that. Whether they controlling this or not, people see the truth. And that is all that matters to me. I am not fighting any personal battle, and I challenge anybody in Tuko, out of Tuko, publicly, privately, to challenge me that having a more transparent judging system will not bring more confidence to the competition and bring more prestige to the competition.
Bring more prestige and confidence in the competition. We spoke with Mr. Shak, also Icon joined us on the telephone. Chucky will be joining us a little later. We take a very short break, and during this break, we're going to check in with Judy Kanhai to find out what's happening in the world of business. Stay with us.